On today's episode of Locked On Coyotes, I break down an exciting weekend for the Coyotes and talk about how the recent point streak isn't the worst thing for the Desert Dogs.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. Before we get started, I do want to mention that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. You can make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. I am your host, Carl Pavlock. It is just going to be me for today's episode. Robin, my co-host, is dealing with just a personal day. Wanted to talk about this weekend because it was absolutely insane. The Arizona Coyotes start off with a comeback from being down 5-1 in the first period to force the game to overtime, and then eventually the shootout to fall to the Los Angeles Kings on Saturday, and then follow that up with a return home where they beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-2 in overtime. Continuing this recent trend of the Coyotes not necessarily being able to win games in regulation, pushing things to overtime could potentially make a difference in terms of the standings in the coming weeks, because those loser points definitely add up. And as of right now, the Arizona Coyotes have a 9-game point streak going, which is just insane. It feels like just yesterday we were talking about like a 9-game losing streak. Now the Coyotes have a 9-game point streak. I do believe that part of this is the fact that we are seeing more home games, just in general. The schedule's a little bit easier now. It was really rough all of January leading up to the All-Star break. Things are starting to kind of relax a little bit, and I think the Coyotes are responding really well. Now, for many people, this is a bad thing, and I get that. Anytime your team is tanking, there is always a tendency to want, to be in the best position possible, and that requires losing. And how you get buy-in from people going into a tank season, this is one of many that I've covered, is you start to say like, hey, this is the future. Focus on the future, don't focus on the present. And if 3/4 of the way through the season, you're not able to really do that anymore because your team's going up the standings, like it feels like, things aren't going the way they're supposed to. And just like when things are supposed to be going good and they go bad, when things are supposed to be going bad and they go good, people have a tendency to kind of get nervous about that. In general, it's something that I am not really a fan of. It requires a lot of intellectual vigor to consciously be reframing your thoughts, to not go with that first instinct of tank good, because I get it. I want Connor Bedard to be a Coyote as much as anyone, but there's nothing we can do about it. The only person who has to say in what can happen is General Manager Bill Armstrong. And considering Jacob Chychrun has been sitting for the past couple games, like even trading him's not going to do too much. Shane Gostisbehere just returned, looked solid in his return, so he's another big trade target. He's not really involved. Some of the players, Karel Vejmelka was in net for those first 5 goals against LA. He's not exactly doing, the stellar play to steal these games as much. I think we're starting to see the emergence of kind of the younger players. And that's why I think that this is key, because even in a tank year, you want your younger players to be contributing in major ways. If say last season, the Coyotes had a 20-goal season from Louis Eriksson, Jay Beagle, and that and Andrew Ladd. Let's say that. Let's go 3 players. I didn't want to just do the Vancouver trade, but yeah. So if those 3 guys had 20-goal seasons, it would not be ideal. It would definitely increase their standings in the points, but it would also be kind of players that aren't going to be with the team long term. Heck, they're not even with the team this season. So the fact that the Coyotes are getting kind of the offense from their long-term pieces, that is something that you should be really excited about, because those are the players that you really want to be doing well. I'm going to talk about a couple more of those like specific players, but first we do have a message from our sponsors, and they are a partner that has a product that I use every day. I started taking AG1 because I want an optimized immune system, but I hate taking pills and vitamins. It's just the worst. I have allergies as a kid. I have allergies now. I do not like to have lots of pills. It's why I'm actually getting allergy shots. Getting AG1 is like that, but it's a full body health shot. And it's lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, it is the perfect product for you. And it contains less than a gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial anything, while still tasting great. And to make it easier for you, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of their immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you need to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutrition insurance. And we're back. Carl Pavlock, Locked On Coyotes. Like I said, just going to be me for this episode. Before the break, I said that this was not the worst thing because we are getting offense from the younger players. I mentioned Connor Ingram. He played exceptionally well. He came in riding a shutout. He did look extremely good against the Kings in relief. The Blue Jackets finally managed to beat him in the second period, but up until then, just looking phenomenal. I do kind of wonder if Ingram is going to be part of the Coyotes in the future, just because he had a lot of really positive buzz coming out of Nashville. They seem to think that he has the potential to be a future starter for them. Vamelka, I think, has been playing good. There is a possibility that he's going to be traded. Like I said, he has had his name thrown out in rumors. And if you really want to make this team worse than overnight, trading one of their goaltenders would definitely be an easy way to do it. I am not sure at this point what the team's long-term plans are for Ivan Prosvetov, the Coyotes AHL goaltender. I know both Robin and myself are big fans of Pros. I would love to see him on it, but I'm not out there watching Tucson Roadrunners games every day, so I don't know how feasible that is. So, something to be said. But either way, love the fact that Ingram's had a good game. Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz have looked just absolutely phenomenal these past few games, really showing just that great chemistry. And I think Barrett Hayton is finding himself in a comfortable spot with them. He isn't necessarily scoring as much as I would like. I would like to have him be like way up in the standings, but he is still looking good. He is currently tied his career high 14 assists. He is 2 shy of his previous career high with 8 goals in 57 games. Looks like he may not He may take a little bit more time to reach that, but he should, provided he doesn't get hurt, knock on wood, he should definitely have career highs in goals, assists, and points this season. Comes in or had game or points in both games, had the overtime winner against the Blue Jackets, had an assist against the Kings. So Barrett Hayton playing good. Great to see that. Matthias Michelli is a name that definitely needs to be talked about more. If you're in the media and you're not talking about Matthias Michelli, you absolutely should be. He has 3 points in his last 2 games, 2 assists against the Kings, a phenomenal pass to Barrett Hayton against the Blue Jackets. If you haven't seen it, I highly encourage you to check it out. He is just like tricking everyone into thinking that he's going to have the shot. Perfect no-look pass. Finds a wide open Hayton. Does great. Love that. And I do also think that, not necessarily the same points, but you're seeing the Valimaki playing really well. Like, he had an assist against the Kings. JJ Moser had an assist. Victor Sostrom had an assist. There is some veteran players. You got your Christian Fischer had a goal against the Kings. Travis Wood has been surprisingly high. He seems like he's with the team long term. He's not in that same kind of top line with Keller and Schmaltz that he was previously. But that's absolutely fine. He is finding ways to contribute. Always good to just have a nice veteran presence there for the rebuild. So good to see that. These are the guys that you want to really be succeeding. It is definitely, I would also like to see players, bump their stock up a little bit. Bukestad or Richie could really start to heat up, get some teams to trade them. That would be fine. But it's, it's good. It's fine. Because all the names that we're talking about, with the exception of, Ingram, he's more of a question mark, but Mosier, Soderstrom, Valimaki, Michelli, Hayton, Keller, Schmaltz. These are the guys who are going to be on your team next season. These are the guys who are going to be on your team 3 seasons from now, a lot of them. That is absolutely fine if they are having success now, because they're going to continue that success. They're going to keep building off that. They're continuing to improve. They're taking those necessary steps. All last season, we talked about silver linings, and it was kind of like the saving grace for the Coyotes. Like, hey, this is something good the Coyotes are doing. This is the good thing. Love it. Need more of it. That is just the entirety of, what we're talking about now. The silver linings are Clayton Keller is continuing to play great. The silver linings are Matthias Michelli is continuing to play great. The silver linings are Barrett Hayton is finally finding his role as a top line center. So, you kind of have to accept the fact that, these players are having individual success, and that is good for them and also good for the long-term future of the team. If Clayton Keller's play just dropped off a cliff, it would help the Coyotes, lottery odds, but it would not be an ideal indication of what kind of player Keller is or what kind of player Schmaltz is. You kind of want a guy to just be consistent, even on a bad team. There is definitely value in that. Anyways, I'm going to talk about a little bit more what this kind of means for the future. Again, why we shouldn't be too concerned about this. But first, we do have another quick word from our sponsors. And this time, it is our friends at FanDuel. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book, and because new customers get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. You can download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and easy to win. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers and threes drained. I am always a fan of prop bets. I like to look at specific things. Just because I watch a lot of hockey, I often find that like there's just so many factors that go into betting on hockey. It is sometimes easier for me to just kind of like go super focused and not try and think about the overarching game. So looking at things like player points, rebounds, or even exclusive bets like the 2x3, two three-pointers scored in the first 3 minutes. Those are always fun. Plus, FanDuel lets you combine your bets for a chance at even bigger payout with same-game parlays. So don't miss the chance to get in on your no-sweat first bet for up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn even more and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.com or sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? You can always call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. And we're back. Carl Pavlock, Locked On Coyotes, talking to you about how this isn't the end of the world, that the Coyotes are on a point streak, that they have points in the last games, they have a couple of successful wins, because the season is nowhere close to being over. Let's be real. There is still a lot that's going to happen. It is getting closer. We are approaching the... I don't even know if we're at a quarter at this point. Coyotes have played 57 games, 82 season, so 25 left. Sure. And a lot can happen in that, especially because the team is going to get worse. I mentioned that, Chychrun hasn't been playing. Ghost hasn't been playing. They are eventually going to get traded. And while the Coyotes can certainly keep up play for a short term, I don't necessarily think that's something that they can do long term. Like if you look like a guy like Victor Sjöström, if you tell Victor, hey, you got 3 games while we're sitting Chychrun, we need you to play those 3 games. He could do that. But when it starts getting down to like 10 games up, 15 games up, like that kind of grind, that's when it starts to get to you. That was one of the major concerns that we had when Dylan Guenther was kept up at the beginning of the season. Like, hey, sure, he's doing good in like his first 8 games. Sure, he's doing good in his first 20 games. How is he going to get 40 games in, 50 games in? Like the longer you're playing in the NHL, the more you're going to get exposed on the ice. You're going to get ground down. You're going to get hopefully not hurt, but sore. So I do think that the Coyotes are going to start to slip. We've kind of seen this a lot lately, especially this season. There's a lot of kind of like, hey, good streak, bad streak, good streak. I think there's going to be another bad streak. Also, let's be real. The Coyotes are not winning in ways that we would call replicable. There's a lot of comebacks. There's a lot of Coyotes taking the early lead. The other team goes up, comes back in the second period, takes the lead for the first time. The Coyotes tie things up and take things to overtime. That's great. It's awesome. If you are watching games, I'm sure it's very entertaining for you. It certainly is for me. But that's not a recipe for success. We all know that. That is not a good way to play hockey games. And, sure, you can beat the Kings when they're up 5-1 after the first period once in a season. Can you do that the next? Can you do it every game this season? That's a lot tougher. And I do think the Coyotes, they're going to have, it's not the easiest schedule. It's not the worst. Looking at what they have coming up, they're going to be playing Calgary, Nashville, and Chicago for the rest of the homestand. Then Dallas, Carolina, New Jersey, St. Louis to finish or going into next month. So, I'm gonna be real. Those aren't the toughest teams, but those are definitely teams that can cause damage to the Coyotes. And I do also think that the Coyotes should not be taking any team as granted. Even a team like Chicago that is lower than them in the standings, like that could very easily turn into just a mess game. Like the Columbus game, I think was kind of a mess game. It's definitely one of those things where I am not too concerned. At this point, you just kind of got to put your faith in the lottery. Got to put your faith in Bill Armstrong in the scouting staff. Oh, the scouting staff. They are going to be pivotal right now. Because, as I said on Twitter today, the funniest thing in the world, the thing that would make me never stop laughing is if the Coyotes finish fifth from the bottom, win the lottery, and still end up getting to draft first overall or even second overall because, hey, that pick is available now. So that is kind of where I'm at with this. It is very much outside of our control. We should not be worried about it. Just celebrate the good times because there's going to be bad times coming up. You got to just take the good when you can. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. A little bit of a shorter episode, but just kind of want to recap. It's holidays, so might as well just kind of do like a brief breakdown, nice little afternoon breakdown. Hope you had a good President's Day. I do want to just say that I saw that President Jimmy Carter is currently receiving hospice care. Hopefully that is a smooth transition. Thoughts to him and his family. I have had relatives go through hospice care, and it is one of those things where you end up kind of resigning yourself at a certain point because you know it's going to happen, and you just want it to go as well as it can. It never can go well. Sorry to bring it down, but it's President's Day, so that's kind of what came to mind. But hope you had a good day yourself. Hope you, if you had the time off, enjoyed that. Hope you're staying safe out there. And hope you enjoyed a little bit of the Coyotes winning. Hopefully you at least enjoyed them getting a point against LA. Always root for the Coyotes doing good against LA. That's going to do it for me. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. You could also follow me, Carl Pavlock, FFH. You could also follow the website, 5 for Howling, word 5, number 4, word Howling. As I said in a previous episode, we're going to be taking that independent in the near future. So definitely make sure to follow that for your Coyotes news. Otherwise, don't forget to howl on.